How's it going, everyone? I can see that some people are having a little bit of issues with the Legend Haunted sector. So to make things easy, we get some helpful tips here, along with a breakdown of one subclass for each of the classes to make things easier. Like an easy tip here is at the beginning of your Legend Haunted sector, or any Haunted sector, just run all the way through. Ignore the DPS any of the beginning mobs. Start your clock, get the boss spawning and such, and everything before will despawn. Right? Make things a little easier. Start from the beginning. Alright, so first class we'll go over is going to be the Arc Warlock. We'll have different weapons with each of the classes, that way you can try out different variations, you can mix and match them as you go. I just think these combinations are kind of work out really well with each subclass, or you can switch them around. For the Arc Warlock, I definitely recommend the Osteostriga with a glaive, with the Vesper of Radius as your exotic armor piece, and then a rocket or anything else you'd like, grain launcher or whatnot for a heavy. The reason I say Vesper of Radius is it gives you that blinding effect, gives you tons of ionic traces, and it gives you a bunch of ability uptime. Your class ability should be all the time. It should be blinding everything, doing a bunch of damage, making things real easy for your team. And then you run a glaive, so you can always tank some of the boss damage, or some of these headless ones you can take the damage if you need to. If you don't put your shield up, you will blow up, so be very careful of getting in that melee range. But you can basically put your healing rift down and absorb the whole boss's damage if how boss comes up during each damage phase if you'd like. Make it easier for your team. For that arc thing, you just want to spam abilities all day long. All my builds will be in the description, all them links. You can check out each of the mods or builds or whatever stuff. I do have videos on each of these classes already on my channel. You can check those out for more of a breakdown. Maybe a little bit different as they're adapted for higher end content stuff, but kind of works the same. But Arc Warlock's gonna be designed to kind of support your team, put healing rifts everywhere, kind of crowd control with all of your blinds and your jolts, and mainly just do as much damage as you can while also being able to just but you want to make sure you don't get overwhelmed. So if you can place those class abilities all over the place, it'll make things easier for yourself and your team. Next, I'd recommend the Strand Titan. Strand Titan are insane. They do massive amount of damage. They control the battlefield. If you can really play it to the maximum effect, of a nice helpful tip here is when you see a Strand tangle, you don't have to immediately go grab it. I would recommend, if you can, grapple to that tangle, use your melee from it. Grapple again to the tangle or a different tangle. Don't necessarily have to pick it up right away, and just keep grappling to it and punching, grappling and punching. It'll make things a lot easier for yourself. So you can do max amount of damage, you'll keep your grapple active, and you'll be able to just keep that banner of war going. So if you can, grapple as much to these as you need, and whenever they start to kind of dissipate, or you need to move them, you can always grab them. Keep that woven mail active, as you want to make sure you have your melee ability up all the time. But with the Strand Titan, your thing is mainly clear ads and basically one or two shot with your melee, the headless ones. With the boss, you will struggle a little bit with getting a melee range, as the boss does chunk a lot. But just be very aware of you can take out everything else in the room and let your heavy, which is I recommend running the Parasite, do most of the damage for the boss. What you can do is get 20 kills, turn around, hit the Parasite on the boss, do most of its health, or a headless one, you could probably almost get it down to half health with just one shot, and then you can use your melees and finish it off real easily. Another alternative would be a tractor cannon, as it'll weaken it for your targets also, and it'll put a little suppress effect if you say have an overload champion to deal with also. Make it a little easier for your team. But again, play these to help out your team and support your team around. A good benefit also for both or all subclasses would be to run a disorienting grenade launcher. Any grenade launcher can run it. You just gotta make sure you have disorienting grenades on, and it'll basically make it so everything won't hurt you. It's really helpful for the Strand Titan, as sometimes you can't get in melee range and kind of get shot before you can get into that close range. So being able to shoot it into a room and then kind of crowd control everything until you get up to where you can start meleeing will make it a lot easier for yourself. Parasite is very, very, very helpful in this. If you encounter, I would say run it on all of your champions if you have it. As it makes it really easy, because you're clearing ads all over the place, so you might as well be able to do a massive hit on a high health target and just make it life easier for yourself, and then go back to ad clearing and whatnot. Finally, for the hunters, I recommend Strand. Strand's a little bit interesting here for this build, is you can't really use your foe tracer like I'd really like, because you're using the mask, but instead try using Lucky Pants. Lucky Pants with Malfeasance. Whenever you can load in the legally modded holster, you can do a ton of damage. You can melt the headless ones, as it is a boss. So Vorpal is activated along with the final boss. You can melt that boss in no time. If there's any unstoppable champions, it'll take care of that for you. and then also your Beyblades will be most of the work for Strand. So whenever you're not DPSing boss, I would say switch out to maybe a wave frame, something that'll help you do ad clear. You can also use your malfeasance if you like, but mainly your kit, your spells and abilities and stuff will be used for mainly ad clearing. So try to get as many tangles as you can, and then switch that illegally modded holster on with your lucky pants on to do a massive amount of damage when needed. Whenever you need to activate the Lucky Pants feature of a legally modded holster, you can always activate your ghost and then close your ghost out rather than having to switch weapons and such, and it'll then activate the illegally modded holster for you. So once that out of luck is deactivated, open your ghost up, switch to weapon, something else, and get that legally modded holster active. A big thing to note also is find out where your threats are. If you're dying a lot to the headless ones, they do a lot of solar damage with their close range. So what you can do is back up. Whenever you summon one, make sure you back away from it, let it blow up. Make sure you back away from it, make sure it do its stomp, and then be careful that focusing you with the solar damage. If you can, try to hide from that or have your solar resist on, as it does do a lot of damage. And then the boss, depending on the boss you get, do either high void damage or high arc damage. So make sure you're very aware of what champions you're going against in some cases, and you make sure you're taking an overload or an unstoppable or a barrier champion, and then also what the boss or what your biggest threat is. If you're having no issue with the headless ones due to your build, then definitely make sure you change your resist mods, which you can do whenever. You change your gear around as you need to during the fight, so when the boss gets activated, you can make sure you have the right resist mods active, and it'll make it a lot easier for you. Make sure you're prioritizing going and opening the zones up so you can have more and more of those headless ones available, and then make sure you're looking out for your team. It's a very team aspect. Make sure you're looking out for your team, as there's a lot of mobs that can be everywhere. It can be a little hectic and sometimes it can get a little overwhelming, but if you can take care of ad clear and then switch to the headless ones, or one person prioritize ad clear, one person try to prioritize boss damage, like if you're on this hunter and you have that malfeasance, go crazy on that boss damage and then let everyone else take care of the ads. If you need to switch around your exotics as you need to, depending on the scenario, definitely do that. But make sure you're thinking very aware of, like, how do I survive the most? What's going to put me in a bad situation? And be very wary of those summoning rituals. They can get messy. Hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll have a dim link to each of these builds in the description, so definitely check that out. And as always, hope you have a fantastic day.